The crystal chandeliers in the Waldorf Astoria ballroom seemed to dim the moment the VP's voice sliced through the elegant jazz quartet. "You're fired, Lauren. We don't tolerate that kind of display at company events." Robert snarled into the microphone, security already gripping Lauren's elbows as she stood protectively beside Margaret. Gasps rippled through the sea of tuxedos and designer gowns while Margaret's fingers tightened around Lauren's hand, her face pale under the sudden spotlight of 200 executives. 10 minutes earlier no one could have predicted the night would end like this. Valentina Rossi, the iron-fisted CEO of Apex Dynamics, had been circulating the room with her usual cool confidence, nodding at board members and sipping champagne. Now she watched from the edge of the stage as Robert dragged her top marketing analyst toward the exit for the crime of bringing her wife to the annual gala. Valentina's stomach twisted. She knew the company's unspoken family values policy was a relic from her late husband's era, but she had never expected Robert to enforce it so publicly. Lauren had been with Apex for 6 years, delivering campaigns that added millions to the bottom line. Yet here she was, being marched out like a criminal simply because Margaret stood beside her in a sleek navy dress, their matching wedding bands catching the light. Valentina's mind raced through the consequences: lawsuits, media leaks, talent exodus. But something deeper stirred, a memory she had buried for decades. Her own college roommate, the woman she had loved and then left for the sake of family legacy and a stable marriage to a man who never truly knew her. The room waited for her reaction. Board members exchanged uneasy glances. Valentina stepped forward, microphone in hand, her voice steady but laced with something new. "Robert, stand down. Everyone listen up." The security guards froze. "That woman you just tried to humiliate, Margaret, is my future daughter-in-law. She's engaged to my son Ryan. Lauren, you're not fired. In fact, both of you stay. We're done with this nonsense tonight." The ballroom erupted in stunned whispers. Valentina locked eyes with Margaret across the room, seeing the flicker of panic beneath the younger woman's composed mask. She had no idea the announcement she had just made to save face would unravel 3 lives before the night was over. Lauren pulled her arm free from security, turning to Valentina with wide eyes. "Ma'am, I thank you, but there's something you need to know." Valentina raised a hand, silencing her. "Not here. We'll talk in the morning. Enjoy the rest of the evening." But inside, Valentina's pulse hammered. She had announced Margaret as family to shut down Robert and protect the company image. Yet the look Margaret gave Lauren was not the look of a woman in love with a man. Valentina's son Ryan had sworn the engagement was real, a strategic match that would merge their families and secure the biggest client deal in Apex history. Now doubt crept in like ice water. As the quartet resumed playing, guests forced smiles and returned to small talk, but the air had changed. Valentina retreated to the bar, ordering a double scotch she rarely touched. She watched Lauren and Margaret slip onto the dance floor, bodies close in a way that spoke of years, not months. Her mind flashed back to 1987, the dorm room, the whispered promises she had broken when her father threatened to cut her off. She had chosen safety then. Tonight she had chosen protection for a stranger. Or was Margaret a stranger? Valentina downed the scotch. The price of her decision was only beginning to reveal itself. Margaret's heart pounded against her ribs as she swayed with Lauren under the soft lights. "He just called you my future daughter-in-law," she whispered, voice trembling. Lauren's grip tightened. "I know. Your secret engagement to Ryan, it's out now." Margaret swallowed hard. She had hidden the truth from Lauren for 6 months. The ring Ryan slipped on her finger during a tense family dinner. The pressure from her conservative parents who believed a real marriage would fix everything. She loved Lauren with a ferocity that scared her. Yet the promise of stability, of never worrying about money or judgment again, had tempted her. Now Valentina's words had forced the lie into the open. Across the room Valentina's phone buzzed. Ryan's text. "Mom, what the hell did you just do? We were keeping it quiet until the merger closed." Valentina stared at the screen, the weight of her snap decision settling like lead in her chest. She had saved Lauren's job but possibly destroyed her son's future, and exposed a secret she had no right to reveal. The gala continued around her, but Valentina felt the first cracks in the empire she had built on silence and sacrifice. The next morning the Manhattan offices of Apex Dynamics buzzed with hushed gossip. Valentina arrived at 6 a.m., earlier than usual, to find Lauren already waiting outside her corner office. The younger woman's eyes were red-rimmed but determined. "We need to talk before the board meeting," Lauren said without preamble. Valentina ushered her inside, closing the door against prying ears. "Sit. Coffee." Lauren shook her head. "Margaret and I have been together 3 years. We had a private ceremony last summer in Vermont. She's my wife, not just my date. Your announcement last night, it's complicated everything." Valentina leaned back in her leather chair, the city skyline glittering behind her. "Ryan told me he proposed 6 months ago. Said it was mutual, that Margaret wanted the stability." Lauren's laugh was bitter. "She never told me about the ring until 2 weeks ago. Her parents threatened to cut her off if she didn't choose properly. She's been torn." Valentina. "Last night she cried for an hour after we left the gala." Valentina felt the old guilt rise. She had made the announcement to stop the firing, but now she saw the human cost. "I didn't know she was already married to you. I thought I was helping my son." Lauren met her gaze. "Helping or controlling? Because forcing her into a straight marriage to close a deal sounds a lot like the pressure you probably faced once." The words hit like a slap. Valentina's hand trembled as she set down her mug. She had never told anyone at the company about her own past, but Lauren's insight cut deep. "My choices were different," she said quietly. "I lost someone I loved because I chose legacy. I won't let Margaret make the same mistake if she doesn't want to." Lauren stood. "Then tell Ryan the truth. And tell the board you're standing by us. Because if Margaret walks away from me now, it won't be because she stopped loving me. It'll be because the price was too high." That afternoon Valentina called Ryan to her office. Her son arrived looking exhausted, tie loosened. "Mom, the merger partners heard about last night. They're nervous about family values. If this leaks, we lose the deal." Valentina studied the young man she had raised alone after his father's death. "Is Margaret in love with you, Ryan?" He hesitated. "She said yes. But I've seen the way she looks at Lauren. I thought it was just friendship until the gala." Valentina's heart sank. "Then we're not forcing this. I won't repeat the mistakes I made 30 years ago." Ryan's face hardened. "You're risking everything we built. Uncle Edward is already calling an emergency board meeting. He wants you out if you don't fix this." The betrayal from her own brother stung, but Valentina squared her shoulders. "Then let him try." Meanwhile, Margaret sat in her small Brooklyn apartment, staring at the engagement ring on her nightstand and the simple gold band Lauren had given her in Vermont. Her phone buzzed with messages from her mother. "We saw the news. End this nonsense with that woman, or you're no longer our daughter." Tears burned her eyes. She had grown up in a strict household where being gay meant exile. Lauren had been her safe harbor, the one person who never asked her to change. Yet the money, the status, the approval, everything her parents dangled had made her waver. Valentina's announcement had ripped the choice into the light. Margaret dialed Lauren's number. "I'm coming over. We need to decide what we're going to do." The call ended, but the weight of the decision pressed heavier than ever. That evening the three women met in Valentina's penthouse overlooking the Hudson. Margaret spoke first, voice breaking. "I never meant to hurt anyone. Ryan offered security I thought I needed. But Lauren, you're my home." Lauren reached for her hand. "Then choose home. Whatever the cost." Valentina watched them, seeing her younger self in Margaret's terrified eyes. "I'll stand with you both, even if it costs the company. I lost my happiness once for this empire. I won't watch you lose yours." The room filled with tentative hope, but outside the windows the city lights reminded them the world was watching. The boardroom on the 42nd floor crackled with tension as Uncle Edward slammed a folder on the mahogany table. "Valentina, your little speech at the gala is all over social media. 3 major clients have already emailed concerns about lifestyle choices. We're losing the Meridian merger unless you publicly correct course." Valentina sat at the head of the table, unflinching. "Correct course? You mean fire Lauren again and pretend Margaret isn't part of this family?" Edward's face reddened. "She's not family. She's your son's convenient fiancée and apparently someone else's wife. This is a circus." Lauren sat beside Valentina, invited for the first time as an equal. With respect, sir, my performance reviews have been excellent for 6 years. Firing me from my marriage sets a dangerous precedent. Edward sneered. Your marriage isn't recognized here. Valentina cut in. It is now. I'm changing policy effective immediately. Same-sex spouses receive full benefits. And Margaret stays. The room erupted. 2 board members threatened to resign. Valentina felt the empire she had bled for cracking beneath her feet. Yet the memory of Margaret and Lauren's clasped hands the night before gave her strength. She had paid the price of silence once. She refused to make others pay it again. After the meeting, Margaret waited in the hallway, face pale. Valentina, I can't let you destroy everything for me. Maybe I should just go through with Ryan. End things with Lauren quietly. Valentina pulled her into the office and closed the door. Listen to me. 30 years ago I walked away from the woman I loved because my father threatened to disown me. I married a man I respected but never desired. I built this company on that lie. Every promotion, every deal carried the weight of what I lost. Don't repeat my mistake. The company will survive. My heart barely did. Margaret's tears fell. My parents said the same thing. They'll never speak to me again if I choose Lauren. Valentina placed a hand on her shoulder. Then they lose the privilege of knowing the brave woman you are. Choose love, Margaret. The rest is just noise. That night Lauren and Margaret walked along the Brooklyn Bridge. City lights reflecting on the river. I told my boss I'm staying, Lauren said softly. Even if the board fights back. Margaret stopped, turning to face her. I told Ryan the engagement is off. He was hurt but he understood. Said he suspected all along. They kissed under the bridge cables, a quiet promise amid the honking traffic. For the first time Margaret felt the chains of expectation loosening. But back in her apartment her mother's voicemail played on repeat. You're dead to us. The price was real and it was only beginning. Valentina sat alone in her penthouse, scrolling through the growing media storm. Headlines screamed CEO endorses lesbian marriage at Gala. Stock drops 8%. Her phone rang. Ryan. Mom, I'm proud of you. But Uncle Edward is rallying investors. He wants a vote to remove you. Valentina closed her eyes. Then we fight. I've lost enough in this life. I won't lose my soul too. The emergency shareholder call lasted 3 grueling hours. Edward presented charts showing projected losses if the progressive agenda continued. Valentina has turned Apex into a social experiment, he declared. Clients are fleeing. Valentina countered with her own data, talent retention numbers, the loyalty of younger employees, the long-term brand value of authenticity. We built this company on innovation. Hiding who we are is the real risk. The vote was close. 52% to retain her, but the damage was done. 3 key clients pulled contracts worth $40 million. Valentina walked out of the conference room feeling the weight of every decision she had ever made. In the elevator Lauren caught up to her. I'm sorry. I never wanted to cost you your company. Valentina managed a tired smile. You didn't. Robert's prejudice and my brother's greed did. Besides, I gained something more important, my self-respect. That afternoon Valentina met with Margaret in Central Park, the same bench where the 2 women had once picnicked in secret. I've decided to step down as CEO if the pressure continues, Valentina said quietly. Margaret's eyes widened. You can't. This is your life's work. Valentina shook her head. My life's work was always supposed to be happiness. I just forgot along the way. Margaret returned home to find Lauren packing a suitcase. What are you doing? Lauren's voice was steady. I got an offer from a competitor. Better pay, no drama. If my presence here is destroying your mother's legacy and your family ties, maybe it's time I step aside. Margaret grabbed the suitcase. No. You're not sacrificing us for their comfort. I chose you. I'm telling my parents today officially. No more hiding. They held each other as the sun set over the rooftops, the decision costing them both family and security, but giving them something priceless, truth. Valentina faced the board the next day with resignation papers in hand. If my support for Lauren and Margaret costs the company more than it gains, I'll leave. But I will not apologize for choosing people over profit. Edward smirked, ready to accept. But then Lauren stepped forward with a thick folder. Before you vote, look at these numbers. The clients we lost were already shopping around. The new talent we're attracting because of this stance is worth triple. And here's a petition signed by 87% of employees supporting the policy change. The room fell silent. Edward's smirk faded. The vote shifted. Valentina kept her seat, barely. That night the three women shared dinner in Valentina's penthouse. Ryan joined, awkward but trying. "I'm sorry I put you in this position, Margaret." She smiled. "We all made choices. Now we live with them." For the first time Valentina felt the family she had always wanted. Not the one built on appearances, but the one forged in fire. Media trucks lined the street outside Apex headquarters as Valentina arrived for the quarterly earnings call. Reporters shouted questions about the gay CEO scandal. Inside, stock had stabilized but investor calls kept coming. Valentina stood at the podium and spoke without notes. Apex dynamics will no longer hide behind outdated policies. Love is love, and our people deserve to bring their whole selves to work. If that costs us short-term profit, so be it. The room erupted in applause from employees watching on screens throughout the building. Lauren and Margaret watched from the front row, hands clasped openly. Later that afternoon Margaret's parents showed up unannounced at her apartment. "We saw your speech online," her mother said coldly. "You're choosing that woman over your own blood." Margaret stood taller. "I'm choosing happiness over fear. If you can't accept that, I'll mourn the parents I thought I had." The door closed behind them, and Margaret collapsed into Lauren's arms, sobbing for the family she had lost but finally free. Valentina received a call from her old college roommate, the woman she had left behind decades ago. "I saw the news. I'm proud of you, Val." The conversation lasted an hour, old wounds reopening and healing in equal measure. Valentina hung up with tears in her eyes. She had paid the price of silence for 30 years. Now she was paying the price of truth. Lost revenue, family rifts, public scrutiny. But the peace in her chest was worth every penny. Ryan met Margaret for coffee. "I'm not angry anymore. I want you to be happy. And honestly, seeing Mom fight for you too, it made me realize I've been hiding parts of myself too." The conversation opened new doors, father-son and mother-son bonds shifting into something honest. The media storm continued, but so did the support. Thousands of emails poured in from LGBTQ employees across the country thanking Valentina for changing the culture. Lauren received a promotion to director, her performance now judged on merit alone. Margaret started a small freelance business, no longer dependent on her family's money. The women walked through the city hand in hand, no longer hiding. 6 months later the annual gala returned to the Waldorf Astoria. This time Lauren and Margaret entered as honored guests, Valentina at their side. Robert had been quietly let go months earlier. The ballroom glittered with new energy. Employees brought their spouses without fear, rainbow pins dotted lapels. Valentina took the stage once more. "Last year I made a snap announcement that changed everything. Tonight I make it official. Margaret is family. And so is Lauren. Apex is stronger because we choose people first." Applause thundered. Later, on the same dance floor where the nightmare began, Valentina watched Lauren and Margaret sway together, faces radiant. She thought of the empire she had nearly lost and the peace she had finally gained. The price had been steep, millions in revenue, a fractured relationship with her brother, public attacks. But the reward was seeing two women live openly the love she had once denied herself. Ryan joined her at the edge of the floor. "You did the right thing, Mom." Valentina smiled. "I finally did." As the night ended, Valentina stepped onto the balcony overlooking the city that had both broken and rebuilt her. She had traded silence for truth, legacy for love, and found that the real power was in letting go. Margaret and Lauren joined her, the three of them standing together against the skyline. The future was uncertain, new challenges would come, but they would face them without shame. True or false? A mother should always risk her entire legacy and company stability to support true love, even when it defies every expectation society and family placed on her.